shaken. The Lord says, yet once more I will shake the heavens and the earth, so that the things which cannot be shaken will remain. So there is going to be a great shaking in July. There is going to be a window of time to move to a safe space till September. There's going to be ensuing chaos, rioting, violence, steeping up and up and up in September. There's going to be economic collapse. There is going to be war, civil war, and war, World War III beginning November, December. There's going to be persecution of the church, persecution of believers. So I'm just urging you, my brothers and sisters, to put on every weapon of warfare and to be in that place with Jesus, that you're so close with him, that when he hides, when he wants to hide you, he'll hide, because he hid himself. That when he wants to feed you, he will feed you with the loaves and fish. When he wants to get you in a tighter path, that if he says no or this or that, you're going to be able to follow him, so that you're going to be prepared. Because he said those that are watching, those servants that are watching, he will make rulers over his household so they could provide meat in due season. And he also says those that are watching will be able to escape the wrath that is to come. So I pray that you will be watching, and I hope that you will tune into this whole video, because I have a bunch of great information for you, and timelines and things to be prepared for spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. All right, so I hope you get a lot out of it. Into what to expect the next 6 months, like July, September, November, December. So first of all, if you are living in a city and you feel led to move, the time is now. You have a window of opportunity to move out of a city right now, probably until September. It'll be fairly easy to move, and after September, a little harder. November, forget it. December, you probably will have to stay where you're at, or you'll have to flee. So please stay to the end of this video and watch my safe states video. Not that there's any safe place but Jesus. There's only one safe place. It's in Jesus, covered in his blood, and the blood over your doorpost. But the prophets speak to people. God speaks to the prophets to speak to the people so that they can be in safer places than others during times of great tribulation. So we are pressing into that time of great tribulation, the greatest tribulation that will ever be on the planet, which God said he would shorten for the elect's sake. So we're heading into that dreaded 3.5 years where there will be the one world rule and one world government. So, excuse me. So please watch that movie. Please pray about moving. The cities are going to get more and more chaotic. The roaring of the people is going to be more and more. I have a great video on that. The rioting, looting is going to get worse and worse. So please watch that video. Please pray about moving. Grab your stuff and just get to a safer zone. So I had a dream the other night that by the fall, it won't even be safe to travel between states. And the Lord was alerting me because I'm getting ready to move from one place to another. And both of the places I live where I'm moving and where I'm going are relatively safe places. But the dreams I had, and my daughter had the same dream on the same night, that literally you won't be able to go without people blocking your way. I had a dream that there was barbed wire everywhere. You could go, you could pass from one state to another, but it was going to be very, very dangerous. So there was a guy who had a dream that really lines up prophetically with the things I feel like. So his name is Dana Coverstone, and I recommend you look up his video. I'll put a title on here in terms of timing. So anyway, but what was not in his dream, this is a prophetic word from my team about July. So the Lord has told one of us that there will be a great shaking in July, a great shaking of the earth, something that has never happened before, and everyone will feel this shaking. Now, how much that manifests in the physical realm, I'm not sure. Like how we're going to feel that, I'm not sure. What's behind it, and I want to talk a little bit about Revelation 12, is the battle in the heavenlies is going to move to the earth. So the battle that's been going on for centuries, and of course many of us are in the spiritual realm and we know we're in a battle all the time, but literally the battle in the heavenlies is going to move to the earth. So the persecution of Christians is going to get worse. The persecution of Jews, the disrest and the chaos. So during this time, we are supposed to look up, and we're also supposed to be like Joseph, preparing and helping one another. So in July, it's not a great time to settle in and just have a great summer. I want to do that. I want to just go to the pool and hang out, and it's a time of a great shaking on the earth. And so really be pressing into the Lord what He's telling you to do. Like I said, I had a dream, and now my timeline has gotten stepped up. So I'm like, okay, I gotta move, and I gotta get more in a group. Like what you're gonna need on the next 6 to 12 months is a group of very safe people that you trust. A group of believers, family and believers that you can trust to go through a very hard time. Because everything's going to get heated up more and more and more. And any open doors, if you have spiritual open doors, so the dream I had about LA, about Amos, was I was in LA, and I have so many friends there of all different backgrounds and cultures and religions and everything. And we were all really, friends, and I've been friends and everything. But in one day, those who didn't believe in the Lord turned on me viciously. And it was exactly like Amos said. I saw a lion, and then I ran from the lion and ran into a bear. So this is why you don't want to be in the cities, and you don't want to be in any place that's not a safe group of people. So a group of people can help each other. And I'm all about the Second Amendment. I'm all about the weapons of our warfare are spiritual as well. I'm not planning to ever have to use a weapon, physical weapon, but we have, so Rhonda Epson, one of the prophets I follow online, she had a dream that recently that we are going to need every weapon that we've ever had. We're going to need every weapon. So to me, that meant spiritual. Every spiritual weapon we've ever used, we need to sharpen our spiritual tools. and we may need weapons. So I'm not advocating if you don't feel led. Just this is all just whatever you feel led to do. But I'm just saying that what we're entering in is we've never seen this before. It's not going to be normal. So by September, it's going to get harder. In October. Of course, coronavirus might be steeping up again. The economic crash is coming. World economic crash. So the World Bank came out with their statement on June 6th, I think, that we are heading into the greatest depression since the Depression. So you can look up that article on the World Bank. The banks are, somebody asked me, well, why don't we see anything? And it's because everything's being floated right now by the government and unemployment and small business loans. But, the travel industry is totally under it. It's going to collapse. All these businesses are going to collapse. And so you need to have your food and water stored up for at least 6 months, starting in September. I don't believe we're going to be able to provide for ourselves for the 3.5 years of tribulation. I'm not a prepper, and I don't have a bunker underground to survive the nuclear stuff. I'm believing that the Lord will be like Revelation 12, the women in the wilderness, and be providing for his church. Those of us who are not getting persecuted or beheaded. I just feel like, if you're called to be persecuted and you're called to be martyred, listen to the Lord so you can be in the right place at the right time for that. I don't know. We have to be ready. Like, I'm always ready to die for Jesus. I'm more afraid about being tortured, but I've been tortured because I'm a believer who has stood up for Jesus in this nation and this world. For 30 some years, I've been, like I had a friend who said, Satan does have his torture camps in our nation. We just can't see them as much. I've been persecuted relentlessly, mostly by the church. I have been the false church, I guess you'd say. I have had a very severe illness that I deal with every single day. That is is very severe, and I feel like it's a thorn in the flesh that the Lord allowed. So Satan buffets me because I move in greater revelation. So I don't get prideful because I have this severe chronic illness that makes me incapacitated many times. So anyway, I don't want to go too much more about that, but in Revelation 12, well, let me just finish my timeline here, and then those who really want to listen, you can stay tuned, or maybe I'll make a second video. So by November, I do believe Trump's going to be elected because it's been prophesied, and that's awesome because we don't even stand a hope in a country if we get a socialist elected to our government. But the prophetic words I've received and others is that by November we have complete distrust right after the election. So some people have prophetically don't know where Trump is, if something's happened. Washington, D.C. is under siege. Prophetically, I have felt World War III was starting in 2019 in the summer, but I believe it did start. Like, it's been escalating, the tensions with China, Iran, Russia. So we have World War III. We have troops on the ground here, possibly by November. We have troops from other countries, and we also have incredible civil distress that will be escalating in September. So by September, it's not going to get very easy to travel around. The looting and rioting and the just our civil distress is going to be really, really awful. So then prophetically by December, it could be then, so we're waiting for the sixth seal to open. So the sixth seal is the great earthquake. Sixth seal. So behold, he had opened the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it rolled together, and every mountain and island removed out of their places. Now, I had a vision of the end of the universe in 2000, and what I was seeing was a vision of this heaven departing as a scroll. So I'm bringing that up to say everything doesn't happen linear in Revelation. Some things are already happening. The scrolling, I believe when I saw that vision, the scrolling back of the universe had already begun in 2000. And then the first four seals were broken on 9/11. So those were broken and have been breaking ever since, with all the four things that the first four horses symbolize. So we're waiting for the sixth seal. Those that are believing that we're in this time are waiting for the sixth seal. So by the time the sixth seal breaks, I mean, there's no place to run and no place to hide. That's, you're talking nuclear war. And that's why it's important to be with a group of believers. And, we may not have long to be in that terrible situation, but that's why, like I say, like I'm not a prepper. I just don't have a bunker. Maybe I'd want one if I had one. But I don't know if land will do that much good, and water on the land eventually, because there may be so much poison and nuclear in the air. Like, we don't know. None of us really know. But I'm planning to, live as safely as possible and have some food and water stored up for my family. And it may be a short period of time until the Lord comes to help us with what it says in Revelation 12, where a great eagle takes the woman into the wilderness. And so that brings me back to Revelation 12. So anyway, that's the amazing timeline we have to look forward to. I think in your faith life, for me, it gives me a lot of courage to think of the martyrs and to really press into Jesus and really have that heart, to be ready to be persecuted or whatever we have to go through to get to him. So those that believe in the pre-tribulation rapture, sorry about that. There's no rapture till immediately after the tribulation is when there'll be the rapture. So you can look up videos on that, and I'm sure just study the word on that. That's just a big lie. The 3.5 years of the Great Tribulation, I believe, will be starting sometime in March, based on the timeline from the 70th week of Daniel that we've traced back. Calculating the last 7 is traced back, as specifically citing fall of 2017 to 2024 being the last 7 years on the planet. So that brings me to the Revelation 12 sign, which I've talked about a lot. But exactly right around the same time the last 7 years started, the last 70th week of Daniel. I have a great video on that. You can look it up. The Revelation 12 sign appeared in the sky. And Revelation 12 sign was the most significant star alignment that's happened since the Star of Bethlehem. And so it's very significant, but if you read a little bit more about it, it kind of gives you an understanding of the times as well and what's happening next. So when the Revelation 12 sign happened, Revelation 12:1, the woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So that was the Virgo constellation, with the moon under her feet. She had the sun on her back. And she had the 9 stars that are usually there, but the 3 planets, other planets, had aligned, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, to make the 12. But right after, and she had Jupiter. So some people don't know this, but Jupiter is the king star, and that was probably the star of Bethlehem that the wise men saw. So Jupiter had been gestating in Virgo's womb for 9 months before September 23rd, 2017, when Jupiter, so at the same time, because it says she was, there was a dragon ready to devour the man-child. So the man-child, the symbol of Jupiter coming out of her womb at the same time on that night, symbolizes, Jesus and his church. Well, his church is the woman, I think. There's different interpretations on this, but this is my feeling. Okay, this is just my feeling of Revelation 12. So there appeared, so at the same time, Revelation 12, sign happened, the women, the stars, the moon, the sun. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head. Okay, so we know that is the Antichrist, the beast that will rise up, the beast of the sea. And so that was being formulated, it was already being formulated, but actively being formulated then in September of 2017. And there was a sighting of Planet X, which will come as one of God's judgment, and it did look like horns, like a dragon with horns, but supposedly NASA blacked that out. We won't really see Planet X, sightings of Planet X from our telescopes, I guess, till sometime next year. But anyway, then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared for 3,203 score days, which is 3.5 years. And there was a war in heaven, and Michael's angels fought against the dragon and prevailed not, and neither was their place found any more in heaven. So there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought the dragon, and there was not found any more place in heaven, and the devil was cast out. So like I was saying, it's not linear. The fallen angels are already been among us, but now is the time for salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, and accused them night and day. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. So the power that you get when you have the blood of the Lamb and you have the word of your testimony, and you love not your life unto death, you're willing to die for your faith, your testimony with the blood, then that's where we overcome the accuser of the brethren. So just this happening, being mentioned in Revelation after the Revelation 12 sign, gives you another picture of that battle in heaven being fought now on earth. So, we know the Antichrist will have the, demonic possession. So we don't know how much demons and things that'll actually be like dwelling during that 3.5 years. So the dragon persecuted the man-child, which was Jesus, and the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness and be nourished again for 3.5 years. So some people think that is Israel, and some people think it's the church. But in 17, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. So obviously there's still believers, the remnant, that are not in the wilderness. So that, is the ones being beheaded, being persecuted. I don't know. I just feel like those that have been in some kind of comfort, mainstream American dream Christianity, you guys will have the hardest time during this. Which because I'm a strong believer. I want to think of myself as one, and I've been dealing with the fact that we're in the last 7 years since 2017. So I've been actively dealing with this every day, and I'm afraid. I've been afraid. I don't want to go through this. And so just think of those who don't even, or those who think we're going to be raptured. It's like it's really time to get our well, Pastor Dana Coverstone said, brace yourself. So gird yourself, gird yourself with the loins of truth, and put on that breastplate of righteousness, and get your weapons of warfare, and simplify your life. You just don't need to be getting a new, career right now, or, like, simplify your life. Just simplify, 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 simplify. So you can concentrate on helping others, because there's going to be people fleeing from these hot pockets. Concentrate on, sharing the word of God until that tribulation starts. Concentrate on the Lord and what He would have you to do, because we're not in a normal time. Don't think normally. Don't think what you would have done before. The Lord has had me really move specifically, these last 5 years since the blood moons happened. Like, He had me move out of LA. He was like, you move out of LA. And if you see a prophet leaving LA, take notice. I'm just not called to be there during the things that are coming upon LA. So God bless you. Just put His righteousness over you so that you can move in His peace and His presence, and you can be in the secret place of His tabernacle, the secret high place, and be moving really closely with Him, so He can say, go there, do that, grab that thing, don't take that thing, so that you can be in the most optimal, powerful, and secure and stable position